MMA Roadshow, episode number 580. My name is John Morgan, and Cold Coffee is with me. And Cold Coffee, did we get ourselves a press conference? The tension finally came, all the build-up. We finally got these two in a room together. You and I were looking and figuring out, hey, when should we get together this week and do the podcast? And I was like, you know what, man, the way the schedule works out, since you're not on duty, it's not late at night, let's do it after the press conference. And I'm glad we did it after the press conference because you knew it was going to be fireworks. And my goodness, Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland didn't even wait until the official introductions were underway to get going.
Yeah, that was – I can't remember another time, if at all, ever, that Dana didn't – outside of that boxing tournament, boxing one where Dana – where Dana – No, what I was going to say was when Dana – one of the very first events where it was Riyadh season – Dana went up there to talk, and then the guy off to the left, he's like, hey, can I take a moment to talk? And I was like, whoa, this is the first time Dana didn't kick off the presser. This would be the second time where Dana didn't kick off the presser. But, yeah, Sean wasted no time. And it was crazy, and it was just like whatever. But, you know, I cannot fault how the UFC set it up. It was smart. They put him at the ends of the dais.
Didn't even put him on the inside.
Didn't put him on the inside.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, that was smart.
Good job. But then you had Dana in the middle. You had the two New Jersey police officers right there. And then you had UFC security literally flanking them, you know, not standing and then waiting to get in. They literally were standing right in front of him. Like, if you're going to talk shit to him, Sean, you got to look over my shoulder. Yep. And it was even pretty good, too. I don't know if you noticed this. You can go back and look. Because it was funny because somebody on our team took a screenshot of the security on what would be where Sean's facing out the crowd on Sean's left. The guy was like, looked totally unenthused, but the whole thing was he was looking past Sean to see if something was coming towards him. So it wasn't so much looking at Sean like, is Sean going to run? He was looking for threats coming this way so that they could anticipate what they need to do. And I was like, that was all like security Steve and everybody, like they were in the mode to like do whatever. So I give the UFC all the credit, like even as much as people didn't talk about the security on site and everything at the hotel. When it came to this was the one that I think we were worried about, like, okay, what's going to happen? Yep. We have one more time when we got to worry about this, and this is at the ceremonials. Yep. They've done a good job of keeping them separated. You know, I think Sean's even at a different hotel than them. And then to have this today was like that thing was like, okay, if something's going to happen, something's going to happen. And it still wasn't flawless. You know, we still did see a little bit of physicality kick off in the face-off, but as for a press conference starting and doing whatever, I can't remember ever a time firing off like it did. But I have to give kudos to the UFC
did their job
for being ready for it.
Security did their job. They were ready. Yeah. And that's what we kept saying going in. I mean, you know, the UFC, they're the best at what they do. Yeah. Sometimes there's like surprise ones. There's little rivalries that nobody saw coming, but everybody saw this one. So
and usually like a fight matchup that's not their fight. Like you guys are just in the division or something else talking shit.
You didn't know what was going on. So they were on the ready. I thought the same thing. I thought the setup and just the way that they had it put them on the outside, whereas in every other press conference, the headliners are in the center because you want them center shot. You want them having the.
You want that two shot.
You want that two shot.
You want that shot where you could widen out and you got them all in frame.
Right.
This one, not possible. So they just had to train a camera right on them and just leave them on them or whatever.
The other thing they did great as well is you saw like once they did get them off stage. I mean, they ushered them immediately out of the building. There was no like backstage partner interviews. Looked to me like there was no real teams and entourages around them. I mean, it was kind of a small facility anyway.
Up in the stands.
That's it. So they kept them out of the backstage because that's what you're really worried about too. Is not always just the athletes; it's the entourage. So kudos to the UFC. They did a great job. So it was interesting because I will say. Look, I was this afternoon. I couldn't wait to watch it. It was the most anticipated I've been for a while, and it delivered. Even if it wasn't the most like highbrow trash talk, right? Like you know, we think of some of like Connor's wittier statements or Chael Sonnen, where it's like, oh my god, like what a zinger, what a clever Raz that was,
Shut up, you pussy. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Just right
pussy.
away.
You cry, baby. Fucking whatever. Shut the fuck up. And it's just like.
Yeah. So I was actually thinking about you because I knew you'd be cutting some.
Trying to cut some.
Well, yeah. So I knew you'd be cutting, video, and I wondered like if there was even good clips to cut because number one, they were both talking over each other the whole time.
Yes.
I mean, even if there wasn't good clips to cut, it served its purpose, right? Like you saw the numbers were huge and everybody's excited and everybody's talking about it. And this, sometimes you have clever trash talk and then sometimes you just have two people that hate each other and they want to go at it. And that's good. Like having rivalry sells fights. But I did wonder if you were even able to find like usable pieces of video.
It was definitely a challenge, especially if you're trying to find, like, if you're just trying to say, okay, let's just clip the heat between the ones. I'm like, okay, well, which part do I choose? The whole thing was just yelling nonstop.
Yep.
I did find it interesting when somebody asked Dana where he sort of ranked this heated rivalry or sort of the hatred, and he I think he said it was like top three or whatever. So that's legit right there. Like that, I thought that was really cool. But it was definitely tough, doing that sort of stuff. So we had, there were multiple people on the team that were sort of trying to identify. Half the time it's just me looking and saying like, okay, I'm gonna grab this part. I'm gonna grab this part. So somebody initially reached out and was like, hey, grab the part where Sean's addressing like, the Chechen crowd and the U.S. crowd or whatever, which was kind of funny because as he was addressing his American crowd off to the left, and then he was addressing what I imagine was this Chechen crowd off to the side, and then you hear Khamzat like, who are you talking to? Like, who are you talking to or whatever? And I was just imagining, like, in my head, like, what if there was nobody off to the sides? It was just the empty seats and Sean just talking to some make-believe people or whatever. But you don't know that when you're not there on the ground or whatever. But it was kind of funny. Who are you talking to? So we took the part where Sean was doing that, and then obviously a lot of people were talking and taken out of context. Sean said he was going to shoot him. So if you want, we can go into that.
I was going to say, because I want to stand up for Sean in that one. Like, Sean says some outrageous stuff, right? Yeah. We've talked about it over the years. So many media days. He says some stuff that I'm like, bro, that's a little bit inappropriate. Yeah. You're a little too far. But yeah, everybody was making a big deal out of it. Like, oh my God, what does the UFC come to that these athletes are saying they're going to shoot each other? Like,
he's just going to murder them.
It's not what he said. Yeah. What he said was, if he and a group of people come approach me in the street, like threatening me, I will not hesitate to shoot them. Which would be completely justifiable by most gun laws, is that if you are being attacked and you legally are carrying a firearm, you have the right to defend yourself. So,
especially in the state of Nevada.
Especially in the state of Nevada. Yeah, now, I've heard that the rules are a little bit stricter in New Jersey.
And Sean actually gave him New Jersey caught some fucking shade from him as well, talking about their gun laws and stuff like that.
He probably would be in violation if that happened. But I don't know. I just thought a lot of people jumped on that. And as you said, I think they took it out of context. And if you're looking for things to hate on Sean Strickland, like, he's going to give you something to hate. So don't worry about it. You don't have to go looking for it. You know what I mean? I felt like people were trying to invent something there where he was just like, look, if they come approach me as a group, which he pointed out today, and that kind of leads into the perfect thing, right? Where Khamzat was like, why wouldn't you come out and fight us?
Yes.
And he's like, you just said it. Us. You didn't say me.
Yeah.
You said us. Like, and that's his point. So if there's 10 of you guys and you're coming to attack me, guess what? I'm packing and I'm going to shoot you.
Yep.
I find nothing offensive in that.
Yep. And that was one of the other clips we pulled out as well. It was talking about the shooting, but also shoot towards the end about I forget. It's training footage. But the training footage, I think, leaked part of in the same shooting thing or whatever. I think the history between these two sort of blend together. But I was just looking up. Jersey is not a stand your ground state. In fact, it is a duty to retreat. So if you're outside your home, you must retreat if you can safely do so. And I'll just say some of the other ones. So there's the castle doctrine. You do not have to retreat if you're in your dwelling. And in Nevada, your car is your castle as well. Mm-hmm. So if you're inside your car, that is your castle. You're able to defend yourself. If somebody's trying to break inside your car while you're inside of it, that is your castle. You're able to shoot and defend yourself inside your thing. And a lot of other places, proportional force. The force used must be reasonable and not excessive for the threat faced. So if somebody's coming at you, and when that's the case, somebody's coming at you trying to throw a fist, you can't pull out your gun and shoot them.
Right.
That's not reasonable force.
Right.
You have to have equal force. And the same thing with like bats. You can't pick up a bat. That's the same sort of thing. But if you're in different places and other stuff, that's where the law comes in. Like in Nevada, if somebody comes into my house, I'm able to assess that they are trying to come in and kill me and harm me.
Right.
If I have a bat nearby or if I have a gun nearby, both of them are fine. But if I have a gun nearby, I'm going to choose that over a bat. Fuck a bat. They get really close for a bat to be effective.
You're a savage, bro. You're a savage.
But not that I want to do that. But, so as much people, were giving Sean about a lot of shit, there's every once in a while some little bits of what Sean says that makes a lot of sense.
I agree.
And for this one, we wanted to bring it up just for the fact of that Sean did not say, he wasn't like, oh, I hate this guy, I'm going to shoot him.
Right.
No, he just, explained his side. Like, if you come with a gang of people and try to come in my state, in my home where I'm able to stand my ground, I'm going to stand my ground. I will shoot you.
I agree. I think people made too much of a deal about that.
And that's why it's always so important when we get these interviews and other stuff to put the full interviews out, put the full thing out there so you hear the full thing. If I'm an editor, I can take that clip and start it right when he says, I'm going to shoot him.
Right.
And put that out, and everybody's like, "Oh, bro, he just said he was going to shoot him."
That would be incredibly irresponsible.
And then fighters and everybody, and that's when they give shit. Like, dude, you took that completely out of context,
Yep.
you know. And like, that's why it's so important to put the full thing. If you're going to take a cut, you have to put the full one out there, and you have to give clarity and talk about what's going on, or you're misleading the people, and then everybody starts going and saying whatever.
Yep.
And it's a little bit crazy, but the other thing, and I talked with you this before we started, one of the other things that I thought was really unique in how Sean said stuff that actually resonates a lot too, when he was talking about, well, he said a lot of crazy shit today. He obviously loves dropping the goat fucker stuff and all the other stuff.
See, that's the stuff I don't like.
Yeah, that's the stuff where it gets a little bit crazy. But when he's talking about, like, you know, you have these guys that come here to this country and they don't want to, you know, everybody always talks about America being the melting pot. And when Sean was saying, like, half these people that he's taking reference, or he's taking, you know, I don't know what the word is, where he's taking, like, drives me crazy, is the fact that they don't want to become a melting pot. They want to come in and have it be like how it was back home. I want to have my culture, but have it be in this place, and be damned everybody here, whatever. And that's, and Sean saying is like, that's not a melting pot. You left the shitty country that you didn't like, and you wanted to act like the shitty country here. He's like, no, this is America. We're a melting pot, or whatever. And I was like, that's actually a pretty decent point,
try to
Sean.
assimilate to the culture a little bit here of this nation and be a part of that nation.
Yeah. I mean, like, it doesn't mean you can't embrace your culture and you can't, you know, be proud of your culture and do whatever, you know.
It's
but
a country
you can't,
built on immigrants, you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. And that's where some of the right gets a little crazy. They forget that this country was built on that sort of stuff, you know. Like, you embrace what's going on, because even the people that started in the immigrants become Americans, and they acclimate and they do the things and they do whatever. So I get it when somebody gets upset when people don't acclimate and they want it to be like how it is, and they want to turn and change things. So when Sean said stuff like that, I'm like, I actually agree with that, Sean, you know, but I don't agree with like 90% of the rest of the stuff you say, but every once in a while, some moments of clarity come out. When you give him a chance to get it, when he gets to it, I think sometimes he gets fired up and he gets, you know, distracted, and he's got like ADHD or something, you know, and it just, he gets on a tangent, and it's like, oh, you were so close to actually explaining your point before you went off to a tangent and started talking about COVID or something, and asked Helen Yee to change her clothes. I was like, where are we going, Sean? You started with a point, and then you just, your brain was like, oh, hey, shiny lights, I'm gonna go over here, you know.
He says a lot of things. You know, obviously this press conference wasn't like the media days where it's a little bit more free flowing. This was just intense rivalry. But in those media days and stuff, he'll usually, you know, talk some religion and talk some politics. And, you know, I do like the fact that he just shares his mind, like whatever his mind may be. Now, do I believe that he's completely up to date and educated on the ins and outs of every situation that he comments on? I do not. I think he just reads a headline, sees the thing, and then he just starts, you know, like when he had the people of Canada and talking about their government, and he had the people of Australia and he was talking about their government. Like, is he really up to date on all the issues? Like, I don't think so.
And he's never going to be a supporter of women's rights.
So basically what I'm saying is, you don't have to go looking for something to get pissed at Sean about. You don't have to make something up, because he's going to give you plenty.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I will say, too, though, I know obviously that Khamzat was going in on him with his family history and his dad and all that. Like, kind of the media day and stuff. Like, I think it's kind of deep reflection when he's like, I realize my father's a weak man, you know what I mean, that he beat on me, and that he, you know, and I realized at that point, you know, that he was a weak man, and that's why he did what he did. Like, that's kind of some deep shit.
Some really deep shit.
You know what I mean? So,
and even in that moment, there's always something that, even if you know bits of what he went through, it's easy to forget a lot of that stuff. And then when you hear that moments like that, and you're like, wow, man, that's some really heartfelt, like, shit that's really deep, man. And it's like, I wish he didn't kind of like mince that in with all the other fucking garbage that spews out of his head sometimes, because then you're just like, wow, you know, like, maybe that mean more and hit more people inside that they could actually resonate if he weren't like putting them so off by like some of the other stuff that you were saying. But he went in hard, man, about you know, like he came at the Kadyrov stuff right off the bat, and he didn't mince away from that. And I agree with him. Like, a lot of that, I mean, we've talked about this in the past too. If you're in that country, you don't really have a choice.
Right.
But when, you have, Khamzat over there saying, I'm rich and I'm blah, 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 and you're kind of flaunting the fact that you didn't get all that money through fights. Bro, you haven't even fought that much.
Yep.
You're getting your money through what he's bitching about, so there's definitely some whatever. I mean, while it is hard for him to turn that stuff down, it's not like he's bragging about the fact or whatever. And then you start wondering how bad can it really be for him?
Right.
It's easy. But again, that's easy for us to say, because
you never know. I always just take it with a grain of salt because
I
had heard over the years of certain athletes that really didn't fall in line with him politically. But once he says you're his boy, you're his boy. It's either that
he had one,
or your family disappears.
Right. Well, there was a guy that was in a position, a fighter or a former athlete or whatever, that was in a position, I remember he got a little whatever, and then the guy was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget his name, but I just remember there was a guy that I think was in favor, pissed him off, and then was
don't hear
gone.
from him anymore.
So
I'll give him a little grain of salt. But if you're Sean Strickland, and this is then you're going to lean on that heavily. So I have no problem with Sean using it. To be honest with you, like I said, it was intense. It wasn't highbrow, of course, but there's something just primal about two dudes just yelling at each other and about to go. So I think it served its purpose.
Yep.
I wish Khamzat wouldn't have kicked him.
Yeah. That sucked.
Dude, just the visual, and it's kind of funny. I was laughing because the one security guard that was on Sean's left, the front side of him, was really blocking the shots. But I understand the shot wasn't their primary concern. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But had he not kicked him, had you just had those two dudes screaming at each other, and you got that visual of cops holding them back, and they can't wait to tear into each other. Now, so now. And I thought Dana was kind of funny today, where he said, talking about his, as a therapist, and why he's, of course, we're going to do
psychopath
it. Yeah,
sociopath.
He's so because of that, we're going to do it. But I had told people all along, so I heard a lot of people saying, "Oh, the UFC said they're not going to do face-offs." I said, no. The UFC said they're not going to do anything extra, hey, let's have you stand around for an hour while we shoot extra, whatever. So I always knew they were going to do this. But now that Khamzat kicked him, do you do anything different at ceremonials, or do you just roll the dice one more time?
No, I think he does. He doesn't. I don't think they do anything differently. I think they're going to do the same thing. I think they'll just keep them further apart.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll let them get within Dana's shoulder width. I think Dana let him get close because Khamzat in his face is we're good. His hands are up. And then they get a little bit closer, and that's just, it kind of almost proves the point when Sean's you can't come out, you can't fight dirty, you can't not fight dirty. Then here you are saying you're good to go, and you're able to kind of, you're even saying oh no, we're fine, we're just getting the face, but then you want to throw a fucking kick to the nuts.
That's ridiculous.
Of all things, that's not very manly.
Nope.
Do you go in the streets of Chechnya and just hey bro, I'm gonna square up, I'm gonna kick you in your nuts? I would think that would get you fucking executed there or something. It's not a very manly way. I mean, if you're defending yourself and somebody comes at you and you want to kick them in their nuts to defend yourself, all about it. Yeah. Go for it. That's defending your life or doing whatever. But if you're in a setup like that, professional fighters, and you're saying, I got this. You got the president of the company right there, and you got everybody right there, and all these people watching, and then you stoop to that, and you're just bro. I think a lot of people I was reading the chats, a lot of people are oh, Sean shook, whatever.
I didn't think so.
You got to read something in the fact that this guy trying to kick the nuts.
Yep.
Is he just trying to get in his head? Is he trying to piss him off? Or is Khamzat just not really there right now either? Is he having his own little internal whatever?
It'd be really easy for Sean to say, see, I told you were a bully. You can't even do a face-off, right? I'm being held back by all these people right here, and you attack me knowing that there's nothing I can do. That's bully mentality, you know what I mean? And again, it's just look, it's dumb. It's a fist fight. But what if he hit his knee or something, blew out his knee, or you know what I mean?
Yep. Just, that's why I thought it was a leg shot at first until I heard it was a nut shot. I thought he was kicking at his leg like one of those fucking Jones teep kicks.
Yeah, exactly.
So nasty, round the kneecap.
So I hated that. That was the one thing I wish Khamzat would have kept it together and not done that.
Yeah,
now that's just going to mean the face-off probably won't be as good at the ceremonials because, like you said, they're going to keep them further apart. And again,
They'll be like 5 feet of distance probably. Dana's gonna be like, no, this is fine.
we're not doing
they're
that
like, camera
again.
guys, can you fit them both in the frame if they're on the end of the stages? We're just gonna put them right there.
There you go. Sean, here's some binoculars for you. Khamzat, here's some binoculars for you if you guys want to stare down each other through these binoculars on opposite ends of the arena. We'll shoot it like that, man.
Bro, it's so funny you bring up binoculars. I'm just gonna be a nerd for a second, just birds and coffee. I was looking up. I have an app that helps identify birds, and there was one that was like, oh, hey, if you have these binoculars, it'll help identify the birds, and it'll automatically save it to this app. I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. Let me just look them up. They were like $5,000. I was like, bro, I don't like birds that much. I was like, it's just funny. You brought up binoculars. I was like, remember those $5,000 bird binoculars? I was like, I don't care about birds that much.
so
That I would do whatever.
Well, speaking of ticket shock, and then we'll get back to the fight. You saw
talking about the White House shit,
yes.
bro.
So for anybody that doesn't,
there's so many fucking
well, so
questions
for
about
me,
this shit.
I wasn't even gonna go out there. It was just for me. So for me, I have put my wife's name on the canvas for the Mexican Independence Day show at the Sphere, and I put my son's name on the canvas at USC 300. It's a thing that you can do. I'm sure everybody by now, if you're listening to this, you've seen the names that are on the octagon. And it's cool. I mean, being on there during the canvas is cool because if you see your name during the fight, it's pretty neat or whatever. Like, oh, there's my name. Blah, blah. But the cool part is then they cut that up, they frame it, they put some really nice photographs with it, and it's cool. Like like I have both of those pieces hanging in my house. And they're cool little gifts and cool little, one of a kind memorabilia. So I haven't done it for myself. At first, I thought about doing it for UFC 315 because my birthday is March 15th, so like 315. I was like, no, I didn't do that. So I was like, don't. Then I was like, the White House. I'm going to do it. I'm going to put my name on the canvas at the White House because a once-in-a-lifetime, once-in-history type event, and my name will be on the canvas. Typically, it runs anywhere between $600 and $800. Not cheap, but, not undoable. It's a nice keepsake. $5,000 to put your name on the canvas at the White House. So,
oh my God!
Yeah, I had to pass on that. I actually wanted to put mine, and I told my boss Rob Haydak at CFFC. I was going to do it as a gift to him too. I was going to put his name on the canvas and send it to him. But I was like, so when I saw him, the prices came out, and I was with him this past weekend. I was like, hey Rob, I was like, I hope you're a believer in it's the thought that counts here, because let me tell you what I was going to do. I was going to buy you this gift and put this together as a thank you for everything you do for me. But $5,000 is a little bit rich for my blood, so I'm certainly unable to do that. So.
That wasn't even what I was thinking of. I was thinking of the
$1.5 million.
Yes, and let's just go into that. Let's just go in that. So if we go back to what Dana said, and I wish I fucking just
no taxpayer
dollars,
dollars,
whatever. He said he had like 200 to 300 tickets.
Right.
He said Donald Trump had 1,300 tickets.
Right.
And then you had the other tickets. So is Dana saying for his tickets, 1.5 million? Are we talking Donald Trump might ask 1.5 million? Out of some of those 1,300.
No, I didn't take it that way.
I took it that way. And even if, all right, granted, all 1,300 won't be for sale. But if you sold all 1,300 tickets for 1.5 million, that's like $1.9 billion.
That's insane. That's insane.
Bro, this is a way to filter hundreds of millions of dollars to Donald Trump.
No.
This is a way to filter hundreds of millions of dollars to Donald Trump.
Take the 10 foot. Bro, he's out there just taking whatever money he wants.
Who's selling tickets for 1.5? What tickets are they selling? Dana's tickets? Is this the UFC selling Dana's tickets for 1.5 million? Why did that number come out? That's them admitting that somebody's paying 1.5 fucking million, but we know that there's very limited tickets in the White House. So whose tickets are the ones for sale? What tickets are for sale?
That's a good question. Probably Trump's.
Exactly. This is a way to filter money to Donald Trump.
That's interesting.
Even if 500 people, 500 donors want to buy these, let's
$750 million.
Bro.
I don't even.
Why do you think he wanted to have an event at the White House? Let's be real, folks.
Look at this. Look at the
Let's be real. This is when. How did people not think this as soon as you started?
I didn't think they were near that. I mean, I assumed maybe there's like
was just like because there's no
50
tickets for
of these
sale
or something, or 25 of them, or I don't know.
But then at that point, you got to figure, Dana's not saying, Dana's like, we're going to lose money on this event.
Well, I assume that.
But if you're selling a ticket at 1.5, where's that money? How could you possibly lose money on this?
Good question. I would assume a lot of that was to help offset their production costs, right? Because they're generating zero revenue.
They say this costs more than the Sphere show.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Because you got to build everything, and you got to take everything in there. You're building an arena from scratch, essentially, right? Whereas the Sphere, at least the Sphere exists. What you're paying for there is the technology of everything.
But they weren't putting that on ticket prices. There was no ticket value for any of that. That was just added cost.
I don't know how many of them there are. I have not heard exact. I mean, there are.
That needs to get asked.
That does need to get asked
by a real journalist, not me. But when they're saying
journalist of the year,
I mean, it is worth asking Dana. Like, we see this 1.5 million, and if that is true, what tickets are being?
It would be a very fair question to be like, let me ask you something. These $1.5 million seats. What do they call them? The partner investment tickets.
Yes.
How many of the partner investment tickets are available, and where does the revenue from those partner investment tickets go? So those are all perfectly reasonable, fair questions.
Yes.
Yeah. Somebody should ask. Hopefully, maybe you got boots on the ground out there at MMA Junkie. Maybe somebody will ask at the press conference.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I don't know if they will, but it needs to be asked.
I mean, like today wouldn't have been. And again, time and place for everything. Today would not have been the right place to ask that.
Post-fight is fine.
Post-fight's fine.
Post-fight is fine.
Hey, man. Amazing event. What are we doing at middleweight? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, hey, now that we've talked about this event, White House on the horizon, you just announced this week these partner investment tickets. How many of those are actually available? Well, there's very, very limited number. I mean, more or less than 100. I don't know the exact number. Okay. Where does the revenue for that go? Are those tickets that you're selling, or are these tickets that the White House is selling? Yep. Those are all very, very fair questions.
Yep.
Very fair questions. You tell me that's not Reporter of the Year stuff over there. I didn't even.
Am I the only person that thought about that?
I didn't even blink an eye. It's just like, of course, rich people are going to buy their way into this event.
It's like the same thing when they have like state dinners.
Yeah.
Like when you want to come in there, it's a donor event. Like, this is just a glorified donor event.
That is interesting. Because for me, when I heard this, I was like, not surprising. There's going to be a handful of these, maybe 50, maybe even 100. I mean, how many people are going to be buying one? That's not a lot.
$100 million.
That's crazy. There's not a lot of people in the world.
It's $150 million.
It's insane.
At 100 tickets.
There's not that many people in the world that have the type of resources available to just be like, hey, me and my date are going to spend $3 million.
Yeah.
Let's go. So you're limiting to a very, very select number of people. But in my mind, I just assumed, and until you brought it up, I didn't even think twice about it. I just assumed that was the UFC selling these very high-dollar limited packages because they need to make back some of their money, right? They're not charging the White House for anything, but they also need to get some revenue from all of their expenditures. So that's why, like, the name on the canvas is $5,000. The autograph poster is $5,000.
Right.
And then these $1.5 million tickets. So if it turns out, and I guess then you can always say, well, do you really believe him? But if it turns out that all that money is going straight to Zuffa, TKO, I guess it would be now, cool with that. I mean, they're just trying to recoup their expenses.
Yeah, depending on how much. Yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely fine.
But if it's all going to Donald Trump, that is a little
issue. Because then when you start thinking about like secret security, it's not like Donald saying, okay, the salaries for this week or this whatever are going to come from the UFC money. It's already being paid by taxpayer money. Mm-hmm. All the security, everybody that works for that is already taxpayer money.
Yep.
So if any money possible is going to Donald Trump, why?
Yeah.
Why would there be anything?
It either needs to go to TKO to recoup their production costs, or to the government to recoup the taxpayer dollars that are being spent.
The taxpayer dollars.
That's very fair.
Like even the fact that you're putting on a public event that somebody is making money, but all the security and half the stuff that's being done is being by taxpayer money. What are we getting for our money? It's one thing if you're just – now, granted, where he sits, those normal people that secure him, they're already going to be around him anyways.
Right.
But if you're bringing extra security, if you're bringing – National Guardsmen, all the other stuff are getting called up, and if there's being people that are being activated extra money, we're all footing the bill for that, So like when they started saying, okay, now we're going to sell tickets, and then you put out the 1.5 million, that changed the game for me. Mm-hmm. Now I was like, okay, were they waiting to bring that up? Do they already know, and then they just decided to do it? Because then that starts bringing questions into where's that money going?
I bet
it'd be one thing if it was just going to TKO, and then okay, then I say okay, But then when you say where are those tickets, And I guess we'll see how many people are actually being seated there or whatever. But yes, I mean, like there are some very questionable shit about that dollar amount and where the money is going to be going for
fair.
this that people need to pay attention
Very
to.
fair. Very fair. Yeah, I would assume, I mean, maybe they always knew they were going to come out with a special ticket. I assume that just the buzz, like they've had a number of people that, how do I get there? How do I get there? And they're like, dude, A, we can't get everybody in. B, let's find a way to recoup some money on this. But yeah, if it's going directly to Donald Trump, that's a problem.
How many tickets need to get $1 billion? You do the math for me. 1.5 million to get $1 billion. What is that? It's not 750, is it?
That sounds about right. Thought about
I don't. I took liberal arts math, so I'm like, what formula do I need to set up?
606. Well, that's great. It's 666.66 tickets.
Of course it is. Of course it is. That's even funnier
That's
now.
great.
He's like, bro, I got an idea. We're gonna price it out, so I just need to sell.
I just need to sell the mark of the beast
tickets
to make $1 billion,
bro.
That cracks me up.
Like this, now I'm set on the fact that this is a donor event. This is not a UFC, and this certainly isn't UFC Freedom 250. This is not about UFC and the 250 whatever. This became a donor event.
Man, all right. Well, still plenty of time to be there. We'll you and I will both be on the ground.
This card, looking at this card, and it's funny when we go back to just the presser. I think everybody kind of forgets there were 2 other people up on the dais today.
How funny is, shout out to Jose Youngs for asking questions because I think they were the only one.
Was that the only question?
It was the only question. And
like, what do you think about being up there with all this crazy madness?
Van was hilarious. He's just like, this is great, man. This is great. And I'll be honest, I didn't understand what Tyra said. And again, I was kind of working on some other stuff.
Yeah, me too.
I was working on some. But I saw it. They subtitled it in a social video clip that I saw when I was driving over here. He said, what he said was, he's like, you guys just want to hear nice, respectful talking, right?
Oh, that's funny.
I thought that was great. So Tyra with the humor, but yeah, that was pretty funny. It was really funny because when they announced the presser as only having 4 people, because that hasn't been the deal lately, right?
No.
You know, you got like the whole main card there most of the time.
They probably had the inkling of what was going to go on.
But it's exactly because when I saw this, I'm like, oh, there was no reason for anybody else to be up there, like. But, like, literally you didn't even need the co-main event. My suggestion was, I thought if they were going to do it, they should do it, like, in phases. If they were going to bring more people, like, bring the other people out first. But, I mean, I guess why waste that time, right? Just go ahead and get straight to the entree, straight to the main event.
Straight to the main event. But when you look at this card, unlike, just last thing on the White House, I know a lot of people, it's funny, like, and spinning back like this week, the guys were rating the card, and they were like, oh, I'll give it a 8.7 or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, and George was like, dude, this isn't like a 9. He's like, no, I mean, and some of the guys were like, oh, when you think about like the White House card and the blah, blah. I was like, wait, you think the White House card is better than this? Hell no.
Nah.
I was like, bro, like the White House card outside, for me personally, the fact that they added the Hokit Beast fight
right.
made it better for me.
Agreed.
I was like, okay, I like that fight. But outside of the top 2 fights, to me, they're like, while they're good fights, you don't need to make these be the marquee, like, hey, America, this is for you, And I guess people say that kind of fits the mold of, like, Noche, where it was like, oh, it's supposed to be bottled about the Mexican culture, and then you just had 2 non-Mexican guys fighting for it. You're just like, okay, I get that, okay, you know.
It's true. We got two title fights, and there's only 1 American out of the 4 athletes.
I mean, but like the 2 title fights that are happening are good. Like, I mean, or like the 2 main.
Oh, those are great fights.
They're incredible fights. Yep. Like they're banger fights, But outside of that, I'm like, But as for this event here, I mean, like. This is a badass card. This card is sick. This card is just incredible. Like, I mean, poor Newark and poor people have to go. Like, they've had some struggle with some of the stuff in Newark, and like I've joked and laughed about how my own like trips and works in Newark, and Newark is not my favorite place. No. So, but Newark, credit to them, they were given one hell of a fight card. This fight card this week, it's sick, dude. I mean, you go down the line, and your boy Pat Sabatini's on him, but you go all the way down to the beginning with Clayton Carpenter and that. But Basinger was the one that he said he had to change his name, right? Wasn't that him? Yeah, like the guy that needs to change his name's on this card. I mean, It is a sick card.
It's a really good card.
I mean, it's so good.
And, look, I've been seeing all the posts and all that. Oh, look, they don't have a lot of tickets left, like that. There's not many tickets left right now.
Like, UFC's failing. The UFC's – that's such a tired, argument. Like, it can't be the new shiny object forever.
Yep.
At some point, it tempers itself a little bit, and then the diehards will go, and then it's like sort of cyclical. People will come back to it, and new people will find out to it. But if you keep making cards like this, and the fact that it's on Paramount, I wish Paramount would get its damn platform in order so that I could watch it after the fact. A nice VOD,
their replay system is weird.
It's different.
It's like they're doing some cool stuff, right?
Yes.
Because number one, the replays are up immediately.
It's pretty quick,
and then they have those I don't know what you call a digest, I guess, where it's like UFC 328 in 60 minutes, UFC 328 in 30. They have different ones. So if you're
probably AI built or something.
Probably is, to be honest. But it's just
why the audio doesn't match.
Edits it down to certain packages or whatever. So that's cool. But you literally can't just walk back in and hit full replay.
If I'm not watching it live, I cannot get the same effect of it
weird.
After the fact, and it drives me crazy.
I don't know whose decision that is. They don't think people want to watch the replay as a whole. I want to see the in between stuff and hear the little news breaks and
I don't know if it's a matter of we don't want to have the future storage space of what it's going to take to have an 8-hour event constantly. I get that, but codecs are changing. You're able to have better quality stuff on smaller files. I don't think that's it, but I was trying to justify in my head. I'm like, I don't understand why we just can't see the freaking archive after the thing.
It's weird.
It drives. So I feel that's why, the other night, do I go to sleep, take a nap, wake up so I can watch an event at 1 a.m. in the morning,
right,
just so I could feel like I can watch it, as opposed to sleeping like normal and then trying to turn the highlights? I would have been like, oh, this sucks.
Yep.
I'm glad I'd be able to see the highlights and do whatever, because then I could feel like I partake in it. But it drives me crazy that I can't have the watch it live experience after the fact. You have to be there or you're done.
I wonder if there. I've seen some people griping about the same on social media, and I get it.
And maybe
I wonder if it's made it to Paramount. So if anybody's actually gotten that,
I feel like we saw some initial change with stuff. Remember when people were bitching about the
weren't showing the walkouts?
Yes,
so they showed the walkouts
and then the cutting the commercials in between the other stuff. People were like, bro, that stuff means a lot. And I thought I was like, kudos to them.
They reacted really fast.
Changes,
They reacted really fast.
This one, and this one I think is a big one. I would love to see, but maybe people are just happy the fact that the price point, you're willing to deal with it. You're, and it's almost like we're going through a learning curve of okay, before we could do this, before we could go back and we could watch the replay, and we just got to. We expected. Now we're like, okay, well, that was then.
Yep.
This is now. You have to watch it live, or you just get used to this highlight system. And we will, and eventually, I guess we will. But it just maybe we're still so close to that. It sucks.
It's weird.
It sucks.
I will say though,
it's not the same.
I will, and I don't know what everybody else's experience is, but I'll say this: the Paramount app for me is so much better than the ESPN app was.
I haven't had issues.
I had zero issues.
Yeah.
The ESPN app,
honestly, have not had issues.
And again, first world problems, little thing, but every single time I logged in ESPN, I had to re-log in, type in everything. I'm like, come on.
It could be a little bit buggy, but it's funny. When you think about the sheer, and I will give ESPN credit on the sheer fact of how many live events are being streamed into their network and being able to then be turned around and put onto that platform. Bonkers.
Insane.
Nobody has the volume of what they're doing. So,
True.
I guess I'll give them some kudos to the fact that application was even able to handle that.
Right.
Paramount is not that. Paramount's all one live event, maybe 2 live events, if that, or whatever. And everything else is already on demand. It's encoded. It's in the network.
There,
all you have to do is access it. So, I will give ESPN that credit, because everything else is being streamed from multiple locations all around the world.
A lot of stuff.
And then being able to turn on. So when their system got a little wonky, I was like, okay, well, their system doing a lot of shit that nobody else is doing, you know. But yes, I know some people had some issues, but I personally, same with you, have had no problems with the Paramount thing. And I like the platform. I don't know if you ever go on there and just go to the live TV section and just watch some of the other stuff that they have. It's pretty well put together, the platform. So even with that, even with the regular shows that are on there, and now with the UFC stuff, I'm willing to give some leniency to how the platform plays out and whatever, because it's overall you can't beat the price for what we're getting for it. You know, like I know a lot of people are waiting for the other shoe, the shoe to drop. And everybody's like, they're going to raise the price. Like, they will, but who hasn't?
Yeah.
I mean, who hasn't been a long-time Netflix subscriber or ESPN subscriber and watch that go up and up?
Netflix goes up every year. ESPN's.
Yes.
I mean, now that ESPN Unlimited, I think I pay like $40 something a month for that, or so. Yeah.
And you're on T-Mobile now as well, right?
I am.
Like, so for us on T-Mobile, for a long time, Netflix was free.
Yep.
And then Netflix started getting, when they kept raising the price, it started like, oh, sorry, we have to add a surcharge.
Free, but
and then now we have to, that surcharge is going up again. Oh, that surcharge is going up again. And you're like, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's just a slight discount.
Yeah. Too funny, man. Too funny. All right, let's talk about the fight itself. So, as you said, card's really good, and we can talk about some of the other fights as well. But I've had some people call me crazy, and I've had some people that believe I think Sean has a better shot than people are giving him.
Yes.
I think that the first round, obviously, it's going to be hell. We know that. And I'm not saying Khamzat is only a one-round fighter. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But he's incredibly dangerous early on. Like I said, we know what's going to happen, right? There's no touching the gloves. There's no I'm waiting.
Yep.
Khamzat doesn't, try to set something up and make it's just like I'm just rushing forward. And I believe I'm stronger than you, more powerful than you. I'm going to pick you up in the air. I'm going to throw you down. But Sean does a really good job of defending takedowns and getting back to his feet. You know what I mean? Without giving up his back, without giving up submissions,
or just stopping the takedown,
at all. And we know the gas tank is not going to be an issue for Sean. Yep. We know the mindset that he's got in there. He doesn't give up on himself. He never quits. I don't know. Like look, I've had some people that are just like, you're an idiot, you're insane, like you're dumb. And I'm not saying that like if Khamzat wins this thing in 2 minutes, I'm not going to be like, well, that's the biggest upset of all time. I'm like, yep, I saw that possibly. So I don't know. Like I generally do honestly allow for both possibilities. That either Khamzat is going to come out there and smash him, or Sean has a better chance, I think, than most people believe, of being able to defend these takedowns, surviving, and making this a really interesting fight.
And those the need to defend that takedown is the strongest in those first few rounds. Because we have seen Khamzat tire down. And if you're actually able to land some shots, that's going to be the difference. If it's, like a DDP and you don't get any shots off, he's not going to tire.
Right.
But if Sean's able to defend the takedown, make him work for any takedown that he gets, and then if he's able to get up, he has a better chance. And if he's actually able to land some strikes, like Khamzat, I will give him the fact when I was watching the open workout, but this is hitting mitts. And granted, he had the greatest striking coach ever holding mitts. I don't know if you saw the striking.
No.
It was Edward.
It did it. Tauridine, right? Yeah,
yes.
I did see that.
Greatest striking coach ever holding the mitts.
How did they get connected?
Dude, who knows?
That's funny.
But he had hands.
Head movement.
His hands look good. Yeah,
head movement.
We didn't see any head movement. We just saw some good striking. But so he has good hands. But when it comes to who I think has the better striking in a fight, it's Sean.
Yeah.
So Sean can do the damage. When we see people that are able to defend the takedown and do some striking on Khamzat, they do a pretty decent job. They have a better chance to win, and Sean has that capability. But again, Khamzat is I've seen him just manhandle these dudes in there when they're wrestling like top-level wrestlers, top-level jiu-jitsu guys, and just has an overpowering presence. And just seeing guys that were guys in Bellator, guys in PFL, just get to the point where they just laugh and chuckle because they're like, I can't do anything with this dude. And you see, Armin's working out there. All these guys, legit dudes that are solid ground guys that dominate a lot of people that are there. And I'm just like, man, it's hard to not think that. So
Pat Downey's been going with him. I've seen Pat Downey up close a lot. He's a dominant wrestler.
Sean has a chance, and if people think that Sean doesn't have a chance, you're just either hating on him or you're just so believing of Khamzat. But it doesn't mean it doesn't have to change whether you think Khamzat's going to win. I do believe Khamzat's going to win, but I am willing to say that Sean has a chance. And would I be upset if Sean won? Absolutely not.
It would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Absolutely not. I would love it.
It would be amazing.
I'm always happy and proud when our Vegas guys. I mean, I'm not saying I'm proud of Sean as a person because there's some shit that Sean does is questionable, but there's also shit about Sean that Sean does that I find admirable. Yeah. I mean, I like the guy. I mean, I wouldn't take him to meet my family because, my family would probably love fucking Sean. To be fair, my family Can he stay and can you go, you little liberal pansy?
That's great.
No, like, I would be absolutely over the moon if Sean, because one, I mean, like, the post-fight presser would be incredible. You know, like what he would talk. Like sometimes you see Khamzat after he wins, even he's dominant, he just gets in this like, I don't want to talk much, like,
right?
Quiet, reserved, and just like, oh, we stayed here for an extra 2 hours for this. Yeah. Where Sean, I'd at least find something I'd laugh about.
I think that's kind of, and with Khamzat, I think it's not necessarily a bad thing that he's that way. Like sometimes I think it's good. Like it helps, like the persona, the mystique. You know, you think like if like back in the day, like I go home. Yeah, like Fedor Emelianenko back in the day, like if he'd have just spent like 30 minutes speaking in English after every fight, you know, like you'd be like, but it was like that mystique, you know, whatever. The same thing here, so I think it's okay. But you are right about it, and just the chaos and the turmoil that it would put out there would be unbelievable.
And it's always good to have a belt come back to Vegas. I mean, as much as, you know, we already realize it, but I mean, even in recent terms, do love this place, and I'm proud when people are able to win a belt and bring it back here, and let alone know that when we could go to Extreme and shoot some stuff and see the guys talk about it and just see what that does to the gym and see all these guys grinding to see what a belt does. We've seen that when we go to see ATT. It's in a prominent position when you go to American Top Team down there in Clearwater. You walk in, it's in a trophy case. And it's just like, it reminds the fighters and it reminds anybody that walks into that building, there's champs here. Yep. There's champ shit only. You know, like there's legit stuff. So yeah, it would be very cool for a belt to come back here. But honestly, I did pick Khamzat in my staff picks. Yeah. But you know, for people to say that Sean has no chance, they're just either hating or they're just, I don't know. Have you not watched the Sean Strickland fight? Like he wins the ones that we don't think he's going to win.
And that's the thing I think people forget, or at least don't consider. You know, it's one thing to be like, hey, I never really wrestled. Then I'm getting paired up with Khamzat, and all I did the whole training camp was wrestle. That's all we did the whole training camp. Bro, you're not shoring things up in one training camp. No. Like it's not gonna happen. But he's been Extreme Couture for a decade. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they wrestle every day in there. So it's like he's up to it. And we've seen the skills that he has. So I'm same thing as you. Like if I was making an official staff pick, or like I've been saying, you know, the old, you know, Gorgeous George used to have the, you know, gun to the head scenario. Now I feel like that's like violent to say that, but you know, let's not say like bet your mortgage.
Unless you're standing your ground.
Unless you're standing your ground, that's perfectly fine. You know, betting your mortgage on it or whatever. Like you put it on Khamzat. But I'm as a fan, I'm intrigued. There's a lot of fights you see, and you're like, I'm pretty sure I know how this is going to go. This one, I feel like both possibilities are actually in play, and it would be interesting. It would be interesting to see it get past that first round, and maybe Khamzat start to fade a little bit, or doesn't get success. You know, that first time he comes in, runs forward, picks up Sean in the air, lifts him in the air, runs to his corner, and throws him on the ground. Everybody goes, ah! But then Sean turns, builds a knee, posts on the head, gets to his feet, pulls away, and now we're back on the feet. You know what I mean? Just, I don't know, man. It would make it intriguing. That's as tense as this fight is, and as much hatred and, you know, rivalry as there is between them. If they could get a little ebb and flow of the momentum,
that would be fun. Oh, I mean, and plus we've never seen anybody like grind Sean down like that. They either knock him out,
right?
But you don't see him get tired. Like, it'd be interesting to see if Khamzat is able to get on his back, and even if he controls a couple of rounds, and if we see that dominant style, are we going to see the cardio worn out from Sean? Are we going to see something that we maybe haven't seen?
Maybe find the Khamzat's at a different level. That'd be amazing,
and too. That would prove it, that he is on different level. If he's able to wear him down, and then we see Sean where he's just burned out, and he's spent everything in the first few rounds, he's not going to have anything left for the end. Maybe we do see another finish. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? But again, like, it's going to be an incredible card, even getting to it. I mean, like, I think the co-main event is just a fantastic fight. Neither one of those guys is going to tire. But I feel like watching the main event, it's literally edge of the seat, wondering, because you wonder if you're going to see a finish or you're going to see something happen. And it's one of those fights that I don't see. It's going to wake you up. You're going to get excited no matter what, because there's so many variables that can go that I'm just like, even now when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I'm getting amped up, thinking like holy shit, like this is going to be a banger. And I just want it to play out. I want the ebb and flow, like you mentioned. I want to see a little both. I want to see some shots. I want to see some grappling. I want to see some wrestling. I want to see some takedown defense. What we're not going to see is two guys that are afraid to throw punches. This is not going to be some big heavyweight fight where there's too much respect and too much like flat-footedness waiting for something to happen. Like, these guys are going to
literally
go and get
probably
after
going to be
it.
talking to each other in there. You know what I mean?
Like,
it's
gracious.
Can't wait.
That's what's great about the fact that they both can speak English.
Yeah.
We will. I bet we will hear shit.
Oh, they're going to be talking shit. You know it, bro. I can't wait for this fight, man.
I can imagine Paramount's like, can we have a 5-second delay? And can somebody try to ride the censor button?
Like,
can we just keep a finger on that?
You Chechen whore, let's go. Oh, too crazy, man. Okay, you touched on the co-main event. Which way you lean there? Because I tell you what, I really, really like this fight as well. Obviously, Joshua Van, I think, not getting the respect that he deserves because of the way the title fight went. But, as I said from the beginning, look, it was based off something he was doing. Yep. Now, obviously, Pantoja absolutely deserves the next shot whenever he's ready to go. He deserves it. But I don't think you should take away from Joshua Van. But I tell you what, man, I've been really high on Tatsuro Taira like his whole career. So, Josh Van, great striking, amazing boxing, combination speed, incredible story, you know what I mean? Like, it's like talking about immigrants, and coming here for a better life and buying a house for his mom. I mean, like, it's just amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So, great story. But I lean slightly towards Taira here.
I could have went either way, and I was a little torn because, I normally ride with Taira, like, nonstop. And literally, the only really one of the real differences, and I can even see Taira winning this by submission if he's able to get him down. I don't see this being ending by Taira by strikes. But I mean, like, I get, it's hard for me to pick against a champ unless I see something clearly.
Right.
I give the champs usually always champ bonuses, and so with Van, like you said, Pantoja, it sucks what happened, but nobody's hurt Pantoja like that before, and you can't take Van out of that. And I feel like he is riding high, and I feel like he's got a great physicality. I think his power. I think he has more power than Taira, but I think Taira has more weapons overall, especially when you bring in the jiu-jitsu and everything. But Taira is the kind of guy. There's this soft, nice side about him that he wants to challenge himself. That I think Van can lead him into a striking battle and just keep him on the feet. And I think he's going to work it into where the striking is eventually going to kind of get to a point where Taira's either going to be like, "Oh shit, why didn't I just try to implement myself?"
That would be a mistake.
Yes, and that's what I'm thinking. That's kind of gonna happen because I don't know. All these guys have killer instinct, but I think some have it a little bit differently. And I think part of that, too, with Taira is the culture, is the whatever. They're very respected. They're still martial artists at the end of the day as opposed to an MMA guy that's trying to kill you.
Straight up fighter.
I just want to fucking shoot you in your face, kind of thing. But it's a tough one. But honestly, if Taira wins, I can literally see the finish in my head, but for me, it's hard for me to pick against the champ, and especially in this one with Van, who's just kid, man. I love this story, man.
Story's amazing.
We've been watching this rise, in front of us, and it's so hard to kind of just discount what he's been able to do, and I think it's just an incredible story. But I love this fight. I love the respectfulness.
High level fight.
And that's what's great about this is like we're gonna get this, and I want it to play out. I so want it to play out how we know this can play out, and then we go into the main event. Like what a 1-2 fucking punch, man.
I think we're gonna be on a roll going into that, man, and then all the electricity inside that building is gonna be
it's gonna pop off.
Bro, it's gonna be off, and it's gonna be a sellout, regardless of what you may have been reading on social media. Their tickets will all be gone. Alexander Volkov versus Waldo Cortez Acosta in what's basically like a number one contender fight, but unfortunately these guys will either have to sit around and wait or they're going to have to fight one more time, even if they are getting that status, just because the way the division is set up right now. And obviously, Tom Aspinall will be back after the White House, and you would assume the unification fight would be next. So if they want to sit, you're waiting until next year. But a really good fight. How about this? I actually went Waldo Cortez Acosta in this one here. I just the
rankings be damned on this one.
Agreed.
He's the hot hand, man.
He's the hot hand, right? He's the run that he's on, and I think like the speed difference between these two is going to be different. He's
so fast.
He's
so fast. He's so powerful. I mean, like Volkov. I mean, when I think about what has he got on him, he's got length. He's got length. He's taller. But he doesn't use his length like the other guy. I mean, like, he does okay with it, but I don't think he's ever been the most. He's not bad. Like, Stefan Struve was still the worst example of a guy that can't use his length. Just never used it. Volkov's better, but the power, Waldo's power is just, it's the next level. And the fact that he's so fast, his youth. And, I mean, both of them are great guys. Both of them are super, super nice. But, I mean, like, he's just fun to chat with. I mean, like he's so good, man.
The dude has changed his life, over the course of the last year and a half, 2 years, man. Just the whole patch and the pirate thing was funny with the eye patch and just that bizarre situation, and the dude just fights. It just goes to show, man, just fight. Stay in front of the public as much as you can. You know what I mean? If you're only fighting twice a year, people forget about you. You know? So,
and he does it the right way too. He's not talking trash. He's willing to talk a little shit, and he'll stand up for himself, but he's not going out there and just, oh, you know, this guy's this guy's that, whatever. He just literally like, I will take whoever, I'll do whatever. And then he just seems to be like a legit, like, good dude. But the fact that, you know, he's got I love his personality. He's very just sort of energetic, and then he's powerful. And then like, I just wish we could speak easier,
right,
or whatever. But no, I mean, like, it's in this particular matchup, it's his time, and because I can't wait to see where he goes from here. You know, like, to fight the guys at the top. I mean, when it comes to guys that you can look and say, like, somebody that has future champ potential, Waldo has it in spades, man, for sure.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Sean Brady versus Joaquin Buckley. Obviously, I'm home team all day there.
Yeah, picking Buckley, right?
Can you believe I'm going with the CFSC Hall of Famer Sean Brady? But look, even with my clear homer pick, I do believe that Sean Brady has the tools to get this thing done. But I will say, man, when they announced this matchup, I was like, "Ooh, that's tricky, dude." Buckley is no joke, man. So why I 100%, without just being a homer, believe Brady could get this done. If I had no CFSC connection whatsoever, I believe Brady has the tools to get this done. But Buckley is a problem for anybody.
I mean, if it was a grappling match, everybody knows where you're leaning, you know. But the fight stands on their feet. You know, the times we've seen Sean get finished, it's on the feet, and it's by a good striker. And this might be outside of Morales. I think Morales. Well, I mean, Bilal. I don't want to fucking. Bilal's got some power, but I don't think people look at Bilal and say, like, oh, his power punching.
Nah.
When you look at Michael Morales, you think of power punching. When you look at Joaquin Buckley, you're looking at power punching. You know, this is kind of his kryptonite thing. So I mean, it'd be interesting to see how he bounces back. To see, I mean, it's not like we always have to say, well, what'd you take away from that last fight? The last fight was done in 3.5 minutes in the round one of the last one. It's not like when you're caught, you're caught. You know, it's just a matter of like, don't get caught. But in this one, he's fighting the guy that's very, very quick and has a lot of power. But Sean, I think, he's a smart fighter. You know, keep your head off that center line and try to get to those takedowns. He's not the kind of guy that it's going to be – I don't see his ego saying, like, okay, well, I need to knock this motherfucker out. Like, if he knows he's got a chance to shoot and take him down and get into his bread and butter, I think he's going to do it. But, again, he's got hands too, but it's just different, the power between like Buckley. Like, you don't want this to be a striking match.
And, look, he's talked about it a little bit, so I'm not talking out of school here or whatever with Sean Brady, but he had a really weird situation going into his last fight. Now, I think Michael Morales is future championship material 100%. As well, right? So, everything could have been perfect for Sean, and that same result could have happened. But he did have a weird deal where, like, even on fight day, he wasn't sure he was fighting. In fact, he thought he wasn't fighting. There was this medical clearance issue, some kind of paperwork problem, and thought the fight was off. And they were basically telling him, it wasn't going to happen, and then it ends up happening. So again, I'm not trying to write any excuses for him, and he's talked about it a little bit. But how does that not impact you a little bit? You know what I mean?
Has to be.
You're not fighting. Oh yeah, you are. And by the way, you're fighting Michael Morales on top of that. So it's like,
that's pretty crazy.
That's nuts.
That would not be fun. I'm like,
no, I'm good. No. Yeah, no, it's this paperwork issue, bro.
Yeah, it's good. We're done. We're done.
King Green, Jeremy Stevens, two of the old school boys going at it. I love this. I love this matchup.
A fun one. That's one for the people because somebody's gonna be bloody. Somebody's. I mean, like,
it's gonna be a fun fight.
That's gonna be like a BKFC fight, but with gloves.
I mean,
they're literally just gonna meet in the middle and just square down and just throw down.
Beautiful matchmaking. Yeah. I went with King Green in here. Just feel like he's.
I did too.
Yeah, I hate to pick against Jeremy Stevens. I hate to pick against either one of these guys. That's probably a little bit of a homer pick of mine with King Green as well. But he has looked good lately. He has looked very, very good lately.
It's funny when you think about how long we've been watching these guys fight, like especially those two guys. I mean, like, they're epitome of like veterans. There's only one more veteran on the card, and he's coming down the line. But I mean, when you think about guys that have been around forever, it's King Green, it's Jeremy Stevens. The only guy that I'm alluding to that's down the line is Jim Miller fighting Jared Gordon. I mean, it's Jim fucking Miller, bro. Like,
love it.
It's so good. This card is so sick. And then Atiba Gauthier fighting Ozzy Diaz. I mean, like, Gauthier is he's a scary dude.
I know.
He's just a monster.
I feel like people tried to write like after his last fight when because it was he won. It was a decision, right? And people were like, see, this guy's not that good. Like, bro. By the way, I was just
because his one loss.
It was a win, but you didn't get the highlight reel finish. So I think there's still a lot of upside there. He's a scary looking. Yeah. By the way, I was as you were talking, I was looking through King Green and Jeremy Stevens' record. And I think like the first King Green fight I ever saw in person would have been Affliction in 2009, and then Jeremy Stevens when he came to the UFC 71 to 2007. So yeah, we've been covering these guys for like 19 years and 17.
Mine was 2011 when I saw him in Strikeforce.
It's nuts, man. It's so crazy.
It's so nuts.
Yeah, and you talk about the rest of this card, man. Like I said, Jim Miller, Jared Gordon. That's two former CFSC champs going at it, and it's Jim fucking Miller,
Jim fucking Miller, man.
Love Jim Miller.
And Jared Gordon, man. All the credit to Gordon too. I mean, like it's a guy that like. He wasn't going to be a champ, but, I mean, there's just something so likable about him. Like, he's always been great during the fight weeks. He comes out there, he fights. He's always doing his thing.
Good
but,
dude.
yeah, I mean,
amazing story as well.
Yeah, that's such a good fight. But, yeah, I mean, like, Jim Miller, I mean, like, he's like one of those guys that's just solid dudes that you just love the dude, man. I'm so glad he's still fighting, doing his thing. But yeah, I mean that one's good. Grant Dawson
against Mateusz Rebecki. Love that matchup because Rebecki, that dude's just a tank. He's gonna put you in a fight. Joel Alvarez and Yaroslav Amosov, dude. Like,
bro,
that's a great fight. And as you touched on it, man, Pat Sabatini waited on the prelims, which Pat Sabatini has an argument of being in the top 15 right now, man. He's 8-2 in the organization. That's pretty spectacular.
I wish that dude would do more BJJ events.
I know, right?
Because he's really, really
good.
Loves
it. He actually loves.
He loves really good at it too.
So
but I mean, like, and the fact that the UFC hasn't sort of faltered away from allowing guys to do stuff. I
know. Like, I get it. Like they don't want crossover necessarily, you know what I mean? They want like UFC athletes to be UFC athletes and BJJ to be BJJ, and I get it, but there's a handful of select ones as well. Like, are you telling me if like Damian Maia was in his prime when you had UFC BJJ, you wouldn't be like, all right, come on over, you know what I mean? Like you can come over, even though
I mean, if you're gonna let dudes go off to wrestle an RAF, why not let them go do some BJJ in your own organization? And give Claudia the chance to like put together fights that are just like help, because they're trying to grow that and they're trying to do whatever. I don't know if they're just their whole thing is like, do what you need to do, Claudia, do your thing, help build us up, make this platform, but just don't maybe bug all the guys. Like, but if they said like, hey, we really want to give you as many opportunities to build this platform as big as you can. Okay, take the BJJ guys.
Yeah,
take the guys. I mean, like a lot of these guys, I think would just love it.
Agreed.
And it'd be sick. But, yeah, Sabatini's a beast, man.
Love that guy.
And then the Kopylov Tulu fight's good as well.
There's just all kinds of stuff on
this card is so good.
Stacked.
And it's for free outside of whatever.
Free.
I can almost see where people are like, am I going to pay $80 or $90, whatever it was by the end of it. This was an $80 worthy card. I mean, like this is a legit pay-per-view card. Like, no doubts about it. I mean, like, this is a great effing card, So, 2 title fights. I mean, like, bro,
I love it.
This is solid. I think this is probably one of the better cards in my mind. I think one of the best cards of the year.
I agree. 100%. 100%. Can't wait. All right, well, listen, we'll all be tuned in on Saturday night for sure. I know all of you will as well. Appreciate everybody for waiting a little later in the week, but I just had a feeling we were going to have a lot to talk about after that press conference.
It made sense. That made sense. I mean, because like even the media day, we could have found something to talk about it, but it was like, might as well.
Let's see the face-off. Let's see what the electricity is like, and the electricity is there. Now we'll just tune in and see if they let them get together for the ceremonials, or if they've got them on opposite sides.
Or if they've learned their lesson.
Like, all right, somebody's got to stand on his feet or hold his ankles down or something, man. So anyway, awesome. Everybody enjoy the fights this weekend. Should be spectacular. And thanks for listening.